I chose Flint because I love this city and I want to see it thrive.
Sean McCauley, owner, Alpha Motorsports.
What other place to do business in other than my hometown? So Flint, Michigan is my choice.
Flint is a good place to do business, and I decided I wanted to be a part of that.
Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
I'm the owner of Aaron Christopher Events. I choose to do business in Flint because Flint is a part of my DNA. Aaron Christopher Events is a full-service event planning production company. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
Owner, Alpha Motorsports. Alpha Motorsports is a full-service on- and off-road speed shop. We specialize in EFI systems. We are located at the old National Guard Armory on Chavez. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
I'm the owner of Bella Concessions and Catering. We're located in Flint, Michigan. Flint is a good place to do business, and I decided I wanted to be a part of that. We do concessions and catering. We usually do birthday parties, special events, anything public or private. You can find me at Fly City Car Wash on Saginaw Street in Flint, Michigan, near downtown. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
Co-owner, caught my eye, barber and beauty supply. Being a single father and being from Flint, it was a lot easier to raise my kids inside of Flint with the help of my family. Caught my eye is a beauty supply store with a barber shop and braider located inside of it. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, and support small businesses.
Deborah Johnson, I'm the president of Citizens Statewide Security. We choose to do business in Flint because of the overwhelming response from the community for the product that we offer. So we sell and install residential and commercial burglar alarm systems and surveillance camera systems. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses. I'm the owner and founder of Curtis Accounting Tax Services. I am a tax professional. I provide all aspects of accounting services and tax preparation services. I chose Flint because I was born and raised in Flint, Michigan, and it's always been my passion to give back to the community. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
My name is Molly Baskin, owner of Curvy Girl Fitness and For the Love of Dance Studio. I chose Flint because I was born and raised here, and I want to let everyone know that is not what they think. I aspire to support, encourage, and motivate young ladies and women through exercise, dance, and dieting. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
Hi, I'm James Thigpen Jr., owner of 810. I chose to do business in Flint because at the time I felt there was a cultural void. We created this symbol in order to bring pride to the city. 810 is an apparel company primarily. We've created clothing that really relates to the culture here. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
Co-founder and CEO here at Commute. So the reason we stayed in Flint is we wanted to be an economic driving force in Flint, providing both technology and manufacturing jobs. Commute, we are the universal charging network for anything smaller than a car. You can think of us as the Tesla supercharging network for what's called micro-mobility. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
Johnson, owner
and CEO of Lamash Marketing, print and social media. As a young boy, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and what better place to start a business but my very own hometown. We offer print and marketing services. On our print side, we do t-shirts, clothes, shoes, things of that nature. We also do paper products like postcards, business cards, and things like that. And then we also do the marketing side where we help businesses grow through social media and online advertising. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, and support small businesses.
I'm Keisha Smith, owner of Spectacular Spuds. I choose to do business in Flint because I'm a Flint native and I want to be a part of the revitalization in Flint. Here at Spectacular Spuds, we serve up signature baked potatoes on all your favorites, from shrimp alfredo to Philly steak. Anything you can think of comes on a baked potato right here at Spuds. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, and support small businesses.
And I am the owner of Sugar D's, an 18-year-old entrepreneur. I want to help other young people be the best versions of themselves. We are a full-service food truck. We have the most amazing fish po' boy. You can ask anybody that has ever tried our fish po' boy before. Enjoy, shop, love Flint. Support small businesses.
I'm President and CEO of the Genesee Group. Flint is my hometown, so it was very important to me that this business remained in Flint. Here at the Genesee Group, we are a packager of product, mainly in the automotive world, although we do stretch across a variety of industries. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, and support small businesses.
My name is Antonio Brown. I am the CEO of the John L. Group. I chose to start my business in the city of Flint because I saw a need for African American representation in the accounting field. The John L. Group offers 3 business services: government construction, financial services, and logistics. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, and support small businesses.
I'm Mike Harriman, owner of Vern's Collision. We chose to do business in Flint because of the people, with the long history of working together to make this area a better place to live. We specialize in using factory recommended parts and procedures to return the vehicle to pre-loss condition for fit, finish, function, and safety. Enjoy, shop, love Flint. Support small businesses.
I chose Flint because I love this city and I want to see it thrive.
Sean McCauley, owner, Alpha Motorsports.
What other place to do business in other than my hometown? So Flint, Michigan is my choice.
Flint is a good place to do business, and I decided I wanted to be a part of that.
Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
The owner of Aaron Christopher Events. I choose to do business in Flint because Flint is a part of my DNA. Aaron Christopher Events is a full-service event planning production company. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
Owner, Alpha Motorsports. Alpha Motorsports is a full-service on- and off-road speed shop. We specialize in EFI systems. We are located at the old National Guard Armory on Chavez. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
I'm the owner of Bella Concessions and Catering. We're located in Flint, Michigan. Flint is a good place to do business, and I decided I wanted to be a part of that. We do concessions and catering. We usually do birthday parties, special events, anything public or private. You can find me at Fly City Car Wash on Saginaw Street in Flint, Michigan, near downtown. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
Co-owner of Caught My Eye Barber and Beauty Supply. Being a single father and being from Flint, it was a lot easier to raise my kids inside of Flint with the help of my family. Caught My Eye is a beauty supply store with a barber shop and braider located inside of it. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, and support small businesses.
Deborah Johnson, I'm the president of Citizens Statewide Security. We choose to do business in Flint because of the overwhelming response from the community for the product that we offer. So we sell and install residential and commercial burglar alarm systems and surveillance camera systems. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
I'm the owner and founder of Curtis Accounting Tax Services. I am a tax professional. I provide all aspects of accounting services and tax preparation services. I chose Flint because I was born and raised in Flint, Michigan, and it's always been my passion to give back to the community. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
My name is Molly Baskin, owner of Curvy Girl Fitness and For the Love of Dance Studio. I chose Flint because I was born and raised here, and I want to let everyone know that is not what they think. I aspire to support, encourage, and motivate young ladies and women through exercise, dance, and dieting. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
Hi, I'm James Thigpen Jr., owner of 810. I chose to do business in Flint because at the time I felt there was a cultural void. We created this symbol in order to bring pride to the city. 810 is an apparel company primarily. We've created clothing that really relates to the culture here. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
Peter Duffy, co-founder and CEO here at Commute. So the reason we stayed in Flint is we wanted to be an economic driving force in Flint, providing both technology and manufacturing jobs. Commute, we are the universal charging network for anything smaller than a car. You can think of us as the Tesla supercharging network for what's called micro-mobility. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
Owner and CEO of Lamash Marketing, print and social media. As a young boy, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and what better place to start a business but my very own hometown. We offer print and marketing services. On our print side, we do t-shirts, clothes, shoes, things of that nature. We also do paper products like postcards, business cards, and things like that. And then we also do the marketing side where we help businesses grow through social media and online advertising. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, and support small businesses.
I'm Keith Smith, owner of Spectacular Slugs. I choose to do business in Flint because I'm a Flint native and I want to be a part of the revitalization of Flint. Here at Spectacular Slugs, we serve up signature baked potatoes on all your favorites, from shrimp alfredo to Philly steak. Anything you can think of comes on the baked potato right here at Slugs. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, and support small businesses.
And I am the owner of Sugar D, the 18-year-old entrepreneur. I want to help other young people be the best versions of themselves. We are a full-service food truck. We have the most amazing fish po' boy. You can ask anybody that has ever tried our fish po' boy before. Enjoy, shop, love Flint. Support small businesses.
I'm President and CEO of the Genesee Group. Flint is my hometown, so it was very important to me that this business remained in Flint. Here at the Genesee Group, we are a packager of product, mainly in the automotive world, although we do stretch across a variety of industries. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, and support small businesses.
My name is Antonio.
see a list of appointed and other city officials. You'll see City Administrator Clyde Edwards, Acting Chief Legal Officer. That shows you how recent it is. It says Acting Chief Legal Officer William Kim. And I won't go through all of them, but these are people who get paid, salaries. These are the itemized budget type of people and department heads. And when Mr. Neely talks about the charter, it talks about 5 appointees, including Mr. Edwards, who don't have to come before council for approval. It tops it off with 8 department heads. 8, a total of 13 personnel. I do have the right, and I don't care, I think I always said Mr. Neely when I was on the council. Hell, when he was on the council, we faced a $12 million deficit, and the emergency manager took over. Since I've been on the council, working with fine people like Huey Newsom, the previous administration, regardless how he criticized the previous administration, we overcame that deficit, got the emergency manager out. When he took office, we had a $24 million surplus. Now in 2.5 years, he got us facing a $15 million deficit. And he got the nerve to come up here and tell me how to do financing books, talking about when he was on the council. That's outrageous. You wasn't like me on council, don't you wouldn't have had a deficit. And emergency managers might not have came in. So I ain't buying it.
Councilman,
I got the right to know the salaries, how many positions. I don't even think Mr. Neely understands that when he reorganized departments, it take council approval. Whether you reorganize in blight, transportation, the Department of Public Works, if he really knew the charter, he would know that as an elected council person.
Point of information.
What's your point of information, Councilwoman Worthing?
Can you point me to where in the charter it says that it must go through council for the administration to reorganize?
Yeah, I can show you the charter, Ms. Worthing, and we can do that in governmental ops. If Ms. Winfrey Carter was here, I would ask her to put it on the agenda, because
I just wanted a quick...
That's not really a point of information when you keep talking. I answered your point of information. It's to the speaker, and now I want to continue, because I couldn't get off first base. When I look at the executive budget, Madam Chair, I looked at it just as I did the police. And I was able to itemize and suggest some areas of proposed spending of opera dollars with the police. When I look at the mayor's office, I see the office of mayor. These are the expenditures. Office of Mayor, $1,178,000. Blight Management, $704,000. And I'm talking year 24. If you go back, you'll see those numbers. And you can see where in 2022, the numbers went up from $371,000 in expenditures, Office of the Mayor, to $1.1 million in 2023. Now, anybody who see that in a budgetary position, when we have the position to change, amend, check, and double check, it's just make common sense that I'm gonna ask through you, Madam Chair, to Mr. Neely or whoever he brought. Why is that going up $371,000 in 222 in expenditures by division? If you look at expenditures by category, it goes from $700,000 to $1.3 million, almost double. Now, I can't speak for the other council folk, but I'm gonna probe and see if I got any backup on trying to put this budget together, not just in the mayor's department, but in all departments. And I'm gonna see if departments, including the mayor's office, cooperate. How dare him come up here unprepared to give us details in his budget when it ain't but 4 or 5 expenditure categories. And I'm looking at them.
Mr.
Unbelievable.
Mayor Neely, before you and your administration respond, I want to make sure there's clarity because we're speaking per charter, which is the reason why we're having this hearing. In Article 7 of Finance, Section B, and I'm going to present it so that the public will know, so we'll all be on the same page. Section B states, with the presentation of the final budget to council, the mayor's budget message shall explain the budget, both in fiscal terms and in terms of the work programs demonstrating how spending priorities are guided by and adherent to the City of Flint's comprehensive plan. It shall outline the proposed financial policies of the City of Flint for the ensuing fiscal year and the impact of these policies on future years. It shall describe the important features of the budget, indicate any major changes from the current year in financial policies, expenditures, and revenues together, with reasons for such changes, summarizing the City of Flint's debt position, including factors affecting the ability to raise resources through debt issues, and include such other material as the mayor deems desirable. Now, Councilman Mays had the question. I don't know which one in your administration would be answering that question.
Yes, thanks again, Madam Chair, for that refreshment. And we have done that in our budget presentation as we put the full budget book before you, and we're here today to answer your questions. Now, if Councilman Mays would like to direct his question in a way that we can understand it and formulate the question in a way that we can understand it, because it was kind of convoluted what the question is, and we'll be more than happy to answer that question in depth and in detail. More detail, we will get the CFO to respond, put it in writing. We can make sure we answer that question. But definitely what's before you right now, we're ready and willing to answer questions from all council members, so you can get clarity to this very, very, very complex budget in which we have a responsibility to perform for the residents of this community.
So I want to, is it to my understanding that questions, if they require detail, you want our questions to be to the administration in writing, and then your administration will get back with us on those questions? Is that my understanding?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
What about, so Councilman May's questions?
Madam Chair, if I can finish.
Yes, okay. Go ahead.
As it all for all budget hearings, this is the format in which we put forth, right? You may have some detailed questions, and this was the better to help the council out, because sometimes your meeting can be somewhat convoluted, and sometimes many council people may not be able to get an opportunity to ask their questions. If their questions have not been asked and answered in this format, the opportunity to continue that dialogue beyond just communication, sitting face to face, you may want to be able to submit another question to this administration in order to have an ongoing conversation, getting information as it relates to this budget. So submitting of questions is nothing new. Submitting of direct questions, adding organizations to sometimes chaos, is what we want to be able to provide you with the organized answer for a question that sometimes can get convoluted. Now, I'm more than happy to see if Councilman Mays can boil down his questions to a question to where we can actually answer it, and that's why you see 4 people here versus just 1 or 2. But the budget is before you. We're here to answer questions, much like in every other department that's going to be coming before you to have this process vetted and
so in-depth questions, Mayor Neely, you would like council, because I want to be clear, you would like Councilman Mays to write down his questions because you feel they're more in-depth?
No.
Okay, so can you answer any of his questions now?
No, I'm saying that process is open to all council people, and not just Councilman Mays. You said Councilman Mays.
Well, he's the one who has questions right now, sir.
Right, that's right. Have him, if you can have him ask his question, we will answer that question. But the way that he formatted his questions, he asked about Bill Kim. Bill Kim is he's in the legal department, which is in a whole different category from this budget hearing. It has to be germane to where we are now. Bill Kim is not a part of the mayor's office and the office budget. So answering questions or anything referring to that is not the portion of the budget hearing that we're going over now.
So you would like, so Councilman Mays, if you could
You have the, if you can,
If I may, Madam Chair, let me
Yes.
see if I can change these questions from what has been described as convoluted. Let's see if I can break them down in an elementary way. The only reason I mentioned Bill Kim was to call my colleagues' attention to the organizational chart and the names that was on that page. And when you look at that page, I said I wouldn't read all of them. It named everybody from Mr. Edwards down to Mike Brown and everybody. It's in this package. It's on the 3rd page. And so for Mr. Neely to miscategorize, I said I wasn't going to name the police chief, the fire chief, whatever. I know we're here for the mayor's office. But the reason I read that, because we have a duty to make sure you got 5 paid appointees that don't have to get approved by the mayor who works out of his office. You've got 8 department heads. In the reorganization thereof, including blight, I want to make sure we ain't creating no other departments. And yes, Ms. Worthy, I can show you where reorganization should come before council. But then I went to the budget section, and I said in 2022, the mayor's office expenditures is going from 500,000 to 1.1 million. I showed where they're going from 700,000 to 1.3, almost double. And so I'm thinking that it's not convoluted for me to ask, what are those additional expenditures? I haven't got to the point whether I want to fund it or reduce it yet. I'm just trying to find out what's the reason for the increases. I might want to increase it if I think I'm going to be in there. I might want to decrease it if I think folks are abusing professional service agreements. Professional service agreements can be had, from what I'm understanding, up to $75,000. And when you appoint people working in your office, like Bill Phelps, Ed Taylor, and them are appointees. It's a professional service agreement is a slick way not to bring appointees. I might want to reduce the ability to spend in the area of professional services down to 5,000. So it's reasons that I'm asking these questions, and it's reasons that I want to look at the personnel. The mayor's budget is primarily personnel, unless there's something else that I don't know. And I got the right to scrutinize personnel. That's not convoluted. If this Mr. Neely can convince folks that my questions is convoluted and the public buy it and this council buy it, then it's a lost cause. We have the ability to look at salaries, how many in that office. I would do it this way. When you look at Mr. Edwards' salary in the mayor's office, you can see it. I want to know what it consists of. And I have the right to know. I have the right to know whether I want to move 1,500,000, 3 million to the mayor's office. And he's calling this process convoluted. And before he was a council person, I've been coming to council meetings for 30 years. Been a councilman going on 9. And I've never heard such a thing. And our council sessions on budgets ain't went like what he's describing. Now, is we got a staff or secretary here? Because she can write them down, give them to him in writing. They can come back on a recall date. I mean, we're not handicapped to write a question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and number it. But I'm just appalled that he won't tell me how many staff. We know Murdoch gone. He was deputy chief of staff making X amount of money. Wasn't probably not reading the paper, he gone. We know Marjorie Raymer, who was PR, is gone. But I see another PR lady on this chart. So I'm trying to break it down so Mr. Neely won't describe it as convoluted. This ain't convoluted. So I'm going to yield the floor to any and all colleagues and see if he described their financial questions on budgets as convoluted. I want to see if it's just political. I yield the floor.
Real quick, too, on our schedule, it has mayor's office and mayor's administration, and nowhere on our schedule does it state. I believe blight is underneath your department now, Mayor Neely, or Mr. Edwards?
Point of information, Ms. Burns, may I be excused?
Yes.
Because I don't want to blow up listening to this right now.
Thank you. You are excused. Mr. Edwards? Or Mayor Neely? Because we don't have anywhere where blight is addressed, the blight department. And I would be remiss, because that is one of the, I don't know which is first in the city of Flint, crime or blight.
Yep. Oh, okay. Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, the blight portion of the administration or the mayor's budget is scheduled for Thursday. So that is on, if you look at your schedule of finance discussions, that was set apart for a Thursday discussion.
Yeah, it's not on here. So we will have that. So will we have that added on? So I don't want to, if we're doing blight for Thursday, I don't want to get into blight on Monday, because I want to make sure we're conscious of people's time. So we have blight for Thursday, and will our new blight director, Mr. Arnold Brown, be here for that? Okay, so I will write that in for Thursday. It's on May 5th? Okay, I didn't see that. Okay, so are we taking blight off of the mayor's budget? Because I believe it was put there. If I could get some clarity for that.
I guarantee you it might not be a school board meeting. It does make me a little uncomfortable when we have count. It does make me a little bit uncomfortable. Yes. Madam Chair, blight is currently now under the administrative office in that particular capacity now. We have no plans on removing or taking that out from up under us, but we are open to...
And I'm sorry, Mayor Neely, maybe I was distracted. I apologize. And it's not you at all. Could you said it's not, which department is it under? Blight.
Yeah, what, help me understand, please, just...
Okay.
Okay, because it is a lot of, it's a lot of... It's a lot of moving things going on right now.
Yeah.
And it's not, but it's unfortunate that it shouldn't digress to this. Please ask your question again.
Thank you. Is blight underneath your administration, or it was under planning and development with, I believe, Suzanne Wilcox? Is it underneath your department, or is it underneath planning and development? And what department does it fall up under?
In the early parts of 2020, blight was moved out from up under planning and development and then moved under the administrative offices. And so it was other departments, because we found in our operational audits, and you were part of the team at that particular time, that it was too much strain on any particular department to handle all those multiple tasks. But we're open to have any dialogue about how we can restructure and then accommodate residents of this community better, but making sure that we move forward to have these things. But right now, to answer your question, blight is still under the administrative office. It is in this budget, as it's pretty evident that it's there, and that department will be coming before you on, is it May 5th?
Thursday.
Thursday.
It's Thursday, May 5th.
Yes.
Thank you. I believe Councilwoman Judy Priestley had questions, and then we'll go, I did not look to my left yet for those who had questions, so I'll start with you, Councilwoman Judy Priestley. You have the floor.
Hello. Okay, so I'm looking at your budget, and I'm also looking at your position summary. Now, in 2022, we have 11 positions for the mayor's office, going to 18 in 23. where are those 7 additional positions going? Who are they? What titles, what job responsibilities? That's a big jump.
Yeah, in the main mayor suite, there's no additional positions, but because of the Health Navigation Office, and I'm going to turn it over to Lottie Ferguson, because all those health navigators in the Office of Public Health is under the mayor's office as well, and it was placed there prior to me being in office. And so a lot of those positions in this previous year, 2021 and 22, vacant positions were there, so they weren't inside of the budget. But in 2023, as we ramp up and as we move forward, those positions are now starting to become filled, and that's in the Office of Public Health, where you see those new addition, those spaces.
So you're telling me that they were not budgeted for in 11, I'm looking at 11, and 22, but for 23 they are. Were there any employees in that role in 22 for this year?
So the list of employees that you have that goes from 11 to 18 included grant-funded positions.
Okay.
Okay, there were 4 vacancies in the Office of Public Health. 2 of those vacancies, since the printing of that budget book, have been filled. So technically, it should be 13 to 18. So there are
It just
still,
says that these are adopted positions, so it's not necessarily that they were filled, but those are the number of positions that were in the budget for last year.
right, and there was a lot of, unfortunately, there was a lot of turnover in that office, and so we're hoping to make sure that all of those positions are filled in the next budget.
Okay, so that to me doesn't correlate to what I'm saying, or maybe we're not talking the same language. In 22, the adopted budget had 11 full-time positions. And so did that include the vacant positions?
No.
So those positions were created after the budget was adopted?
No, what I'm saying is that had everybody who was currently on staff at the time. The 18 includes the vacancies.
So you're telling me that those 7 different positions were not budgeted. That's what I see here, is that they're full-time authorized positions under the FY 2022 adopted budget was 11. You did not budget for these vacant positions.
They may not be included in that because they were grant funded, and it's my understanding that grant funded positions are not included in that number.
So they're not grant funded for 2023?
We do have some grants that are sunsetting, so there are some that need to be converted to general fund. Yes.
One of the problems I have with the budget, and this is just overall, is that we don't know how many positions are grant funded. We have no clue. And I feel like I'm trying to reach for information, and I don't have the information because we don't know that number. If we had adopted 11 and for general fund and then 7 for grant, I got that, but we need to see if we can't get those grants back so that those 7 positions, because that's a lot of new positions. Now we've filled 2 of them.
Yes, we filled 2.
And those are now being paid for by grant funds?
Currently, yes, they may not be grant funded in 23.
Okay, so that would be another additional. Okay, so that was my big thing. Also, I noticed that also on this listing, the blight office goes from 5 to 6. And I know that we want to try to get some of the funding into ARPA funds for the blight. So I'm not going to, but I was just wondering if somehow those were allocated in there, because I see that personnel services go up by $500,000. And I have a lot of, we got an email today while I was working, and I didn't get a chance to review it very well, because again, I see is a difference in pension and OPEB. The office of the mayor, you're sitting there, the expenditure by division is up almost $8,000. million, $7 million plus for the office.
$7 million?
I mean, 700,000, 700,000. Sorry. I've been reading numbers without commas today. And without decimal, I mean, it just didn't correlate in my head. And then the supplies and operating expenses almost doubled as well. So there are some concerns I have with this budget, and that information about grants, how much those are sundowning, how many positions, because otherwise I feel that I can't make any kind of decision whether I want to transfer money around. I don't have that information. And I find that consistently throughout the whole budget, but maybe that's because I'm an accountant and I've developed budgets. And so those are some of the things that I'm questioning. I mean, $90,000 additional for supplies and operating expenses. How many contract services people are in this budget?
Right. If I can, as you enumerate your questions, if I can go ahead and just try to expunge some of the concerns on this. And I'm glad that you noticed this, and you have a great financial eye because of your background and your profession. As you said, a common theme throughout the budget has been looking at these level of increases where we are, and this is for the FY 2023 budget. There's going to be a level of cost increases based upon when we plan and the sunsetting of grants that we currently have that's going to be expiring at the end of this calendar year. And then so we cannot effectively say that we're going to be getting these grants until the grant has been awarded to be able to say that it's going to be able to come out of a grant pool versus a general operation pool. But the idea is the level of service that we provide our residents. We don't want to project a level of service of decrease. And when you talk about OPED and our unfunded liability, that's something that's been plaguing many communities throughout our state. Unfunded liability is a thing that I've been talking about. The fragile state that we are on and the collision course that we are on, we have a structural deficit and that we have to take it very seriously. And we're working very hard to be able to work with our partners in the state of Michigan. That is where we're going to be able to survive or not. Because the level of our unfunded liability will capsize us eventually if we do not handle it. Now, when you look at the opioid costs, when we talk about our pension obligations, doubling our obligations from in a 6-year period, we're looking at the cost. And so when you look at those costs of our pension system obligations growing, it hits our budget. As you've seen when you look at the opioid costs, and that is a part of what it is when we look at these numbers. Those costs grow, we have to absorb them across the board. In every department, you will see them like you recognize. You've seen it.
Police department went down.
I'm sorry?
Police department went down.
The cost?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, the growing cost is still there. It will be, it's going from 2018 reaching at 20 million in 2020, and in 2024 we're looking at $40 million of obligation in that cost. We're currently approaching $30 million or $32 million with those costs. They're growing. Those costs are growing. And operational audits is how we've been able to survive at this particular point. We no longer raid our water and sewer funds for general obligations. And so these costs hit. So we're writing grants, and that's why you see Lottie Ferguson here, cleaning up our grant pools, making sure that we can continue to look at our philanthropic community to be able to secure the services that's needed and necessary for residents in this community. Sober and focused minds have to be going through this process. Clear and sober minds. We have to engage this process because we are on a collision course, as we have been for a very long time, moving us forward as a community, and we have to go through this in section by section, and we're willing to do so. Our costs from last year, $76 million in our operational costs, now down to about $64 million or $65 million, with no reduction in staff or services to the residents of this community. We're doing the operational things that's necessary and needed to make sure that we move forward. The Office of Public Health, a very serious office now, as we're coming out of a pandemic, or now numbers are reemerging. As you see that I'm slipping on and off of masks because we're in close proximity to one another here. to make sure that we all are safe. This is not over. Office of Public Health has serviced us in many different aspects and services, and that office needs to grow. We have to grow the capacity in that office, and that's why you see the numbers growing in those areas. We need to make sure that we get our grants and make sure our grant pools are up, and then also using our one-time dollars, our American Rescue Plan dollars to subsidize areas of need for the residents. And so, sorry to make that long answer, but I think you had another question as beyond that.
Well, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, looking at these position summaries, we've been presented with just general fund expenses. So what good does the position summary do for all positions if they're covered by grants as well? You know, so I think it would be better for us to know how many positions are covered in the general fund budget versus the grant budget. Because, you know, we are new, we don't know all the grants. We don't know how many positions. I don't recall the couple of grants that I've seen where they've actually indicated how many positions will be filled. We don't know that. And so for me, especially since my expertise has been grant funding, grant accounting, I don't know how many positions are really covered in our budget. So if we could get that, that'll take care of a lot of my personal questions. But those are my big things. Is like I'll also ask how many contract people.
Right, and we'll work, on the first part, we'll work to segregate that information for you to let you know how many positions are grant funded.
By department, like this.
By
yep.
department, we'll work to provide that for you. And in that inquiry, please digress it to writing, but I'm taking a note. But some of our positions are not totally grant funded, but
That's
partially
fine.
grant funded. So
Percentage.
So the hybrids, you know, we'll try to segregate it.
FTEs.
Right.
FTEs work.
Got you. So we'll do that as well.
I would appreciate that. That would be great. Because, like I said, what new because there is a total of 7 positions. How much in the public health, is it necessary for the city to duplicate the county public health issue, or is it, what it would be the difference between the city's public health employees versus the counties?
Well, the counties, I just want to make sure I reference this correctly, right? Because I can't really speak for the county. The county, you have 32 units of government inside the county. The county has a responsibility to all units of governments, villages, townships. The city of Flint is the county seat, the largest community, the city in the Genesee County, the largest community of color, right? And we know that through our pandemic that the disparity in health care, and that study will be coming out very soon, and we're going to be looking at this about the disparities in health inside the city of Flint versus the out-county area. It is incumbent upon us to provide a level of additional service in this community where we have the health challenges. And when the COVID-19, when it first hit our American society, we know the communities of color suffered the most. And so we had to go into action fast to be able to close and close the gap on that disparity. And so your answer to your question is that, yes, it's necessary for us to move forward to make sure we provide the level of service and protection for our residents and ramping up the level of health services and navigation in that area for our residents inside the city of Flint, yes, in addition to the support that we get from the county.
My concern is duplicating efforts and us paying for it. You know, we all pay for our county taxes and our state, so that's my biggest thing. So for right now, I think I'm done. Those were my main questions.
If I could answer your question.
I guess, thank you, and I'll let Ms. Ferguson, you have the floor.
Sure, the Genesee County Health Department is a completely different set of services than our Office of Public Health. So our Office of Public Health provides individualized services to Flint residents. They are public health navigators, which mean they guide people to the resources that they need. They have a hands-on touch, so a hands-on approach. So if someone comes in and says, hey, I am struggling to feed my children, then they can direct them to the appropriate services through the community referral network. If someone comes in and says, hey, you know, I am having trouble paying my utilities, public health is much more than, you know, we think of doctor visits and the like. Public health is addressing food insecurity, it's addressing poverty, it's addressing other social determinants of health, and so they are an extension of the health department, but they do
completely different services than what the Genesee County Health Department provides. And in fact, those were the folks who worked with the families who were affected by the Hogarth explosion. They were on the phone with those folks, helping them, working with Catholic Charities to get the needs, basic needs met immediately after the explosion and actually months after the explosion occurred. So that's just one example of the kinds of things that they do.
Did that answer your question?
Well, I don't see them even on the website.
I don't believe that there is a section specifically for the Public Health Department on the website, but we've advertised far and wide the 810-410-2020 number for people to call when they need assistance.
I must be blind because I've never seen it, so. Okay.
So, Ms. Ferguson, that number is not on the website?
I can't recall right now if that is exactly on the website, but it should be. Those are also the folks that have been going out doing the water sampling, taking filters and cartridges to people. So they've got a whole host of services that would be completely different than the Genesee County Health Department.
Thank you. Did that answer your question, Councilwoman Priestley? Okay,
I
I
have
did.
more questions, but that's good.
Okay, and then Councilman Pfeiffer he had requested the floor, sir. Councilman Pfeiffer, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Ferguson, on that note, can you give us a breakdown of what that department and what services they provide? I think and also how we can get that on the website, because it's news to a lot of folks that on this council that those services exist. Maybe there's a lot of residents that don't know about it, so maybe the advertising that we've done isn't really hitting everybody. So can we follow up and provide what that department actually does?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Are you done,
No.
Councilman? Okay.
No.
I was going to just respond to that question.
Yes, Mayor Neely, you have the floor, sir.
The website is being redesigned, and right now we're going to work at how to better communicate and how to get better access for those individuals that have the ability to have internet services in their homes, and also to communicate with those individuals who don't have internet services. But those who have cell phones, we're just now starting to test our red alert text messaging program to be able to help execute upon those things, because like you hit it right on the head, Councilman Pfeiffer, individuals that need help don't know how to access those areas of help all the time. $36 million from the high-minded legislation from Lansing has hit to help people pay utility bills. That's water bills, internet bills, rent, even cable bills. And they don't know how to access it. But the fiduciaries of those programs is Catholic Charities and also G-Card. And so when people come to the city of Flint, or to you, council people, for a level of help, where do they go get help? And so the navigation and the concierge service that was provided with the Office of Public Health helped them do that. We're now securing additional dollars and resources for our RAP program to help people pay water bills inside the city of Flint, and we're making arrangements to people can call in to be able to say if they need assistance, they qualify, that we can directly get them the assistance they need. Either it would be from the state of Michigan, Salvation Army. Those dollars are available, and they're not being collected upon by residents inside this community. So it's a great question and a great observation. But they're going to service much like you experienced when the tragedy that happened on Hogarth Avenue in your district, and when you were there on the scene and you saw some of our emergency elements go into place with our partners with MTA and other things. But it was the health navigators that had to go on a 24-hour watch to be able to service those residents inside of that area. So they were there 24 hours out of the health navigation office to provide the level of service for those residents that needed that emergent service at that particular time. So we're working on the communication strategy, additional with the website. Code Red is going online probably the latter part of this week or the early part of next week to be able to communicate to residents better. But that's all a part of what we have to do, and to be able to service those residents in a greater, better way.
Thank you. Follow up on that. When is their website going to be done? Because everybody hates our website. When's that coming? Soon?
It's quicker than soon. And I'll get a better answer for you tomorrow, because I think it's ready to go on for a launch early next week. I think we're finishing up with our new web designers now, but top priority recently was all public safety as it relates to the pandemic, and then servicing all those other crises that we were facilitating at that time. But yes, Councilman Pfeiffer, I'll make sure you have that update very, very soon.
Thank you. So I'm going to switch to Mr. Edwards and his line item. Can you extrapolate on why you went from 447 last year to potentially 512? Are you adding personnel in your office?
Yes, Councilman Pfeiffer, there was one modification in position that was added.
Which one is that? What position is that?
It's an additional assistant. Given the, and if I may expand on that, given the requirements in terms of supporting council and helping council, getting questions answered and so forth, it was already taxing on the one assistant that I have. That person has been fulfilling those duties plus other duties that were already assigned to that person. So that is, the conundrum that's going on is that you may have a slower response because one person is trying to handle all those complaints. And I think we're up to 125 complaints or 125 referrals that have been sent by council. And so that person has been working through them along with their other duties that they have to do. So
how many people are in your office?
Just working under the city administrator?
Just in your line item on the budget.
There are 3.
So this would be taking it to 4?
Yes.
And it would just be additional duties and/or council issues, that would be their entire, their title or their scope of work?
Well, there's some other aspects in terms of just servicing people. The helping council and making sure that information is provided to council is one function, but there's some other services that we're trying to develop right now and work through to make it more plausible for citizens to be able to make contact and so forth. So that person won't just be doing council work. This is about how do we get to and support residents and the activities of residents and what's going on in the city.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I have the same question. How did we go from 463 to 1.1? What is the headcount change? And what roles or duties will those folks be taking on?
Yes, great. The headcount hasn't changed much in my office, right? I had unfilled positions. As we've heard and discussed before, we have the opportunity to have appointments in our office. I have the level to appoint 5 individuals, that's inclusive of Mr. Edwards. We're still only at 3 inclusive of Mr. Edwards. The dollar amounts, in the sense that you're seeing, is about the health navigation type of activity and OPED, I think I'm saying that correctly, increasing in that aspect, and also to fulfill those other vacant positions in the office, to be able to handle the capacity load that we have in our office.
So what's the total headcount in your office of the mayor? What is the total headcount of that 1.1?
I'll give you the headcount that's currently now and the headcount that we're actually budgeting for next year.
Okay. And then I don't know who.
With the current vacancies that we have, 8 in total, that's with the vacancies added in. Now, without the vacancies.
All you need is 3 are vacant, 5 are not.
5 now, 8 filling the vacancies, and that's what you're seeing in the increase.
So the 1.1 is a total of 8 headcount?
Yes.
Okay. the blight management line item, I know we're going to talk about that with the blight management on Thursday, but that's a line item in your budget. What is that, the individual field people? What's the head count change on that? Because last year we were 53, and then next year we're proposed at 647. So 100% or 1,000% increase. And I know we have that, we want to increase the blight department. The administration sent over a resolution that unfortunately didn't make it past the council, but is there some of that money that didn't make it through going to this? What are these positions?
Well, as Che looks through our budget data sheet, we're going to be increasing the level of blight workers in that department significantly to be able to handle the caseload that's out there inside the field. We're going to be making the blight department a very robust department that can actually handle the level of blight inside the city of Flint. We're putting the largest blight plan together in partnership with the county, but also we have to have additional workers on our side. When I arrived here in the city of Flint, we had one individual working in blight. Now we have doubled that, quadrupled that department now, and we're working to move even more people in that division with this new operation. And hopefully, when we're looking at most of it, hopefully some new grants will be coming available very, very soon to be able to help with that capacity building.
I mean, because I would love to take that money out of your line item and put it in the blight department, because we don't need more people in overhead. We need more people on the streets getting stuff done. So I would like to know what the head count and what the plan is for that department. Like you said, Mr. Mayor, we have a lot of blight issues, so I'll be very interested in see what that new head count is, what their roles are, what's their accountability, who's going to manage them. I know the blight department reports up through Mr. Edwards, but I think we need a new level of accountability given our NSO problems, that we need to have a higher level of accountability in that office.
We'll be happy to provide and develop an organizational chart with your input on that. But my office, the mayor's office, is very thin. As we talk about additional operations in blight, when we talk about the operations and the supervision over the blight department, in the absence of individuals being placed there, we had to take on additional responsibilities. The individual that I just made another appointment that's in that particular count right now is Arnold Brown. And you'll get an opportunity to meet Mr. Brown, that was previously over sanitation departments inside the city of Flint and also forestry. In addition to what we're going to be adding to blight, this is a part of a vision that we have and what we're going to be moving toward. That is going to be, he's working in my department but supervising many different things. We're going to be doing some tree removal inside the city of Flint. We're going to be doing blight assist teams operation. We're looking at internalizing some level of health hazard demolition in our department, and also some more robust level of ground operations there. And that supervisional piece is out of my office under the direction of Mr. Arnold Brown, working with that department. So we are very thin in our department, as many departments have been requesting additional help and support. My time on council, when we ran into budget shortfalls or budget challenges, it used to be a common theme that goes around City Hall that says every department cut by 10%, everyone cut by 10%, reducing the level of services. We have been able not to cut any positions throughout the City Hall, period, but we also added additional personnel into those very stressed and strapped areas, your office being one of them. You have maybe 3 personnel in your department, but the time load and the caseload in your offices dealing with your constituents is very stressful for the staff, and I understand that. In the clerk's office as well, also in the ombudsman's office, where we added additional personnel. So we're working in the right direction, reducing our obligations and our costs, and also adding additional personnel. So this particular structural budget deficit that we're facing, we'll never be able to cut our way out of it. And so we're working at the mayor's office, and you can if you are inclined, Madam Chair, to be able to talk about the level of staffing in the mayor's office and where we are, because you saw it firsthand, we are very lean there.
Thank you. I have one final question, and I think that go ahead.
Yeah, just for clarification on still on the blight issue, because we just got where you were coming from. You were looking at the increase from 2020. That was what you was talking about, from 53 to 647. But the growth, if you look at that report that I turned to council to review, the positions elevated from when we started and when we took over. There was a dramatic increase. And so if you take a look at those reports that were turned into council, they show staffing in the office, they show blight personnel as a part of that. All of that fell under this blight budget.
In your report, it says that they're going to have X amount of people more in the field?
No, that report was just based on a request from Councilwoman Burns. That report just talked about blight as it stands right now. The potential, as you're talking about the growth there, is to grow blight teams, grow more teams.
That's my question. Are we growing more teams in the field or growing our office staff?
No, growing more teams in the field.
Okay.
There are 2 vacancies that are included in that.
Okay.
So that will be another team.
So I'm guessing that's an 8 or 9 head count in that 647?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7.
7. Okay. All right, moving on real quick. Time is not on our side. I think we all agree that we're in a budget deficit and every dollar counts. So the supplies and operating expenses, why are we going up almost $100,000 year over year on that? And I'm really going to point to this office's lack of fiscal responsibility and sending out postcards from the mayor. I think that is not a fiscal responsible thing to do. And is that included in this line item? Is the mayor's car including in this line item? Because I don't believe that is I don't believe that is part of the benefits package assigned to the mayor. That's a question.
I believe, Mayor Neal, I believe his question is, if I give you some clarity, he would like to know, is the car in your benefit package and does it fall underneath the mayor's budget? In example, and also you said the postcards and the
postage and the postcards.
The postcards and the postage, which come from your office for birthdays, holidays, I believe it's birthdays. Is that what you're questioning, Councilman Pfeiffer?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yeah, are those items included in your budget? Those items, the vehicle that you're driving and the postcards and the postage?
Just to clarify what that is, we do a lot of community outreach, community engagements, right? And so there are no holiday cards that come from our office out of that budget. But definitely we do acknowledge, no, I'm saying no holiday cards. The answer to that, for those cards, is a part of the mayor's stationery. Yes, it does come out of that particular budget, and it's a very nominal cost for that. But in addition to that, any proclamations, any framing of anything, or awards that we give, acknowledgments at funerals, or any particular thing, then this is historic. This is not a level of increase for those particular operations that we provide to our residents as a part of engaging our community. And so, but definitely we engage on many different levels with our residents inside the city of Flint. But there's definitely, when you said holiday cards, I just wanted to correct that. There was no holiday cards. And I understand your sentiment there, Understood. I'll get that answer to you. I cannot give you an answer to be roughly, but it's nothing significant to rising to a point of understood. Well, we don't have a benefits package that's assigned to the mayor, and definitely not a car, but that is a part of a fleet operation. But what it is a subsidization of what this means is that I don't take security personnel. I don't have 2 police officers or 3 police officers guarding me at all times. As a byproduct of that, we do get additional, I don't want to say threats, but occasional type of operational type of threats. Number one, well, not having a personal vehicle, and sometimes I have to get to and from places in a secure place, in a secure fashion, so that car operates as a transportation model. Now, I don't get chauffeured around by a police captain, or I don't get taken around with police personnel or security, which I could, but I decline that operational expense. And the byproduct of that is if I have to make it to a particular location, it's not a dedicated car only for my service, but it's a car that I do use, much like any other operational opportunity for blight operators or anything else. So that's not my personal car. I don't use it for personal things. What I do is use it to transfer myself back and forth to particular engagements that is city required or city pertaining to city business. And it's a part of the fleet, not my personal car, not a car that's assigned. It's a part of the fleet. We'll look through the detail and give you a detailed answer about why that cost is increasing, but definitely when we're talking about from one calendar year to the next calendar year, it's expenses and costs pertaining to the market, supply and demand. All costs go up for every particular thing. I think if you even review... Pardon me? We'll get your itemization sheet and look at that in total, and that way we can look at it. I don't have that itemization sheet in front of me to be able to tell you that, but in this particular item, we'll get that to you and get that detailed information to you.
Thank you, Councilman Pfeiffer. Councilman Murphy, and I think, before I give you the floor, I think, Councilman Pfeiffer, with some clarity did you specifically, you want to itemize, you want a itemized list from Mayor Neely's office in regards to
the supplies and operating
to the
expenses.
supplies and operating. So are you asking to receive a copy of the birthday list, and then because I think that's registered voters that goes to.
I want to know the cost.
You want to know the cost?
Yeah, this is a budget hearing, so I want to know the cost.
Okay.
Just to clarify that, because I do want to make sure that we answer this with a level of clarity, right? That rose comes, it doesn't come from registered voters, but it comes from actually a array of places: water users, water customers, people who pay their water bills, and other entities, people who do.
So it's select people, not every person that lives in the city of Flint?
No, it's people who we have a generalized, because I don't send it to everyone in the city of Flint, but because we cannot afford to do that. But to answer your question in more detail as it comes to my attention is that as grant pieces ended and we have outgoing information as it relates to navigations and health navigators in that particular area, those are a part of those operations as well. And so when grants sunset at a particular period of time, those expenses go up and it goes into, it hits the general fund. But definitely, we want to make sure we bring clarity to confusion, and that's why I sit here today. And we'll get the rest of those itemized lists to you for exactly what those are and how those costs are increased.
Thank you.
Councilman Farber, if you can shoot that to me, because I'll put it in, and I'm taking notes to make sure that all of our questions, as each colleague has had. Councilman Murphy, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. I want to first thank you guys for being here today, and I want to start off. I'm going to put on my former charter commission hat. When we was putting together the charter, we was up under the emergency manager because we was in a deficit. So what we put together in section 7-104, the Revenue Estimation Commission, will be established with the following members: 1 member appointed by the majority vote of City Council, and 1 member appointed by the mayor, and the 3rd member selected by the other 2. The appointed members must each have experience with managing or auditing municipal finances and shall not be employees of the City of Flint. The committee shall establish its rules and procedures consistent with the law. The Finance Department shall provide administrative support to the committee. B, the Revenue Estimation Commission will be public reports to the mayor and to City Council on the anticipated revenue for the City of Flint. The reports are to be detailed in sources of revenue along with the purpose and or restrictions for use of each source of revenue. The content of the report must be the consensus of all members of the Revenue Estimation Commission. One of the reasons why we put that in the charter is because we didn't want our city to be going in the direction of another deficit or another state takeover. We were trying to protect our city from having a possible emergency manager brought back in. So that was our mindset when we put in the Revenue Estimation Commission. When I look in the budget, I don't see anywhere where we even try to allocate it or set aside a particular funding piece for the Revenue Estimation Commission. I don't know what their budget may be. Maybe they may need $30,000 or $20,000 to operate. It's a volunteer commission, so they don't get compensated for sitting on that board. But I didn't see that in this projected budget. I know the city was sued to implement the charter. In that lawsuit, there was a judgment or order for the City of Flint to implement the Revenue Estimation Commission. So one of my questions is, why wasn't that considered in this budget to set aside a particular piece of funding to bring in the Revenue Estimation Commission? And to my colleagues, and I know some of us have expertise, I don't, in finances, because that's not my role. So what I know I need to do as a council is make sure that I implement the Revenue Estimation Commission, because I want to uphold the charter. And in the charter, in section 7-104, it talks about the Revenue Estimation Commission that we yet to have, and this was even predated before you even became mayor. This was up under the administration of the former mayor, Karen Weaver, and her administration to implement this. That did not happen. You got elected, it still didn't happen. As of today, it still haven't happened. And when I look at the budget, it's still not in here. I'm really concerned that we is dropping the ball when it comes down to this piece of the charter. So I would like to see in this budget an amendment to allocate some funds to bring on the Revenue Estimation Commission, and I will request that your staff, along with us, bring names to establish this Revenue Estimation Commission, because we having a structural deficit when it comes down to the pension and the liabilities of the legacy costs that is we need to deal with. So this right here could have helped advise the mayor and administration and the city council on what we should do to try to help stop that deficit from leaking. My other piece is for the blight management. When I looked at this, and then since I don't talk about numbers, let me talk about numbers briefly today for those who think I don't crunch numbers. In the mayor's office, there's an increase of $739,931 for the record. In the pension and OPEB is an increase of $432,542 for the record. And in the supplies and operating costs, there's an increase in $95,584 for the record. And then in the city administrator is $113,486,000. That's a lot of increase in the mayor's office. And for the blight, to the administrator, Clyde Edwards, you talked about 100 and something complaints that's been coming to your office. And what I tried to do is follow the protocol. And the protocol was when we got a request. So here's how Councilman Murphy worked. When the residents call me about issues with blight, I get on my computer and I follow your directions that you asked us to do. I put a complaint or a thing through Jennifer, then Jennifer forward to you, Clyde. Blight is up under your department. Here's where I'm at with this situation, and please, y'all, don't take this personal, but y'all know Quincy is an advocate for cleaning up my neighborhood, and I have ran on this. I've spoke behind this podium about it. My ward is a disaster. What I tried to do was declare a state of emergency on blight, but the lawyer told me I couldn't do it. It had to be called by the mayor. So I was frustrated about that situation. But what's even more frustrating is that I put a referral in to get areas cleaned up, and then I go back 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and it's still there. And I'll give you guys an example. I've been watching Marengo Street between Horton and Industrial, Black Street between Horton and Selby, Marvin Street between Gillespie and Van Wagner. I've been watching Jackson Street next to Jackson Park. Those areas are so blighted. It's so horrible. It's horrific. I put in a referral. It go to your department, Clyde, because that's what you want us to do. I follow the protocol. And then I go, and there still ain't nothing happening. So this is where I'm at now. I'm going to have to have a meeting in the 3rd Ward, and the residents, we're going to have to roll up our sleeve. We're going to have to fundraise and do some money, do something to get dumpsters. I got a truck, a Ragley truck, and I got a trailer. I'm not about to, this is what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to keep on putting in referrals and calling. You want us to put it in black and white, so that's what I do. I'm not going to keep on calling the office and the department to get this stuff done. I'm going to go out there and do it myself, because that's what kind of councilman I am in my ward, and I am not going to keep riding down these streets looking at that stuff. I'm going to just be out there cleaning it up, because I can't keep waiting. And it's April, it's springtime, and the residents is counting on me. They ain't going to come to the mayor's office. They not going to go to you, Clyde. They going to come to me and be like, well, Councilman Murphy, why haven't this been done? And then when I look at the position summary in the blight, I asked my colleague, was the 6 for real? Here's where I'm at, and I told you guys this before. me personally don't want to have to go in there and be digging into trash and grabbing it and putting it on the truck. So I don't want nobody to have to do what I have to do. And my colleague, we talked earlier, and she was telling me how somebody was picking up some trash and mice was jumping out. I don't do mice, you know, so if some mice come, I'm not sure how I'm gonna react to that. And I would hate to have to do that, but at the end of the day, when my residents calling me, I want to be able to deliver. And me doing this protocol, and I'm not saying it ain't never happened where I called you guys and it hasn't been picked up. But for the blight management, and I'm not sure, I'm kind of confused about the blight management being up under the mayor's executive department, and then I would like to see an organizational chart like my colleague Mays iterated when he first opened up about how to, you know, what departments are being funded through the general funds versus what department is being grant funded, so we'll know how this department, because that's what I was looking for in here, and the organizational chart that I did see didn't really speak on that. But I'm gonna just say it. I think we are dropping the ball when it comes down to blight. I've been working with blight for over 20 years. 6 people in the blight department, whether it's 3 or 4, what Harletta is working with in the blight department is really, I don't want to go there, but I think it's almost criminal to even have them skeleton crew going out there trying to take on cleaning up the whole entire city of Flint. I liked it, the $3 million proposed budget, Mayor, that you had brought earlier in the year to deal with blight, and you explained to me why we needed to start hiring more people. Hopefully we'll be able to see that come back before City Council, because we need boots on the ground when it comes down to blight. And 6 people working, trying to clean up the whole entire city of Flint, you need about 100 people in the 3rd ward by themselves. That's how bad it is. You need some bulldozers, some garbage trucks that grab stuff that Eric Mays was talking about. That stuff is for real. We really do need that stuff, and to send somebody out, a physical body, to go out there and clean up. Let me see one of y'all go out there and clean up that stuff and grab that stuff. Hopefully that's not what they're doing. But I am concerned about the blight department. I'm glad you brought on Arnold Brown. I worked with him years ago, so I'm quite sure he got some great expertise. I kind of want to see how his department, how he finna reorganize this blight situation. But it is devastating in my ward, and them residents is not happy. They're not happy with the condition of their community, and it's gonna be a hard sell for those residents over there, because they keep calling me, and just like on Billings Streets, they just keep calling me, and my hands is tied, because if I'm dependent upon sending a referral to your office, and it's not nothing happening, you telling us to do something that ain't making no move. You know, and I don't feel like I need to keep calling you. If you want me to email, I ain't finna call you. If I email you and you got it and Jennifer sent it to you, you know it's there. And if it's still sitting out there, my plan B is to get in my truck and get in my trailer and figure out where I need to put it. So I just want you guys to, if y'all can't do it, at least try to provide me a dumpster or provide me somewhere to go take it if I got to clean it up, because I am not going to, I'm going to give it about another week. And after that, and I'm going to start going live, recording what I have to do, because this system that you want me to do when it comes down to putting a referral in is not working. And if it is, I don't know if you overloaded because you the city administrator, you want to take the blight. Maybe you don't need the blight up under you. Maybe y'all should take the blight and put it up under Harletta and allow Harletta to take it over because it's overwhelming for you. So for you to be the administrator and then have to work with, have all of these department heads reporting to you, then you got to report. Blight is a big issue. And it ain't just in my ward, this in my other colleagues' ward too. They getting calls about blight. So for you to be the administrator and take on blight and take on overseeing all of these different department heads, you got a lot on your plate. And if you got too much on your plate, you need to reconsider taking away from blight and giving it to somebody who can handle that business. And when I call her letter, she do, for the most part, try to take care of her business. But if she only got 3 or 4 people, how can she take on the whole entire city of Flint? And then some of the stuff, when I'm calling her, she's saying she ain't even synced it yet. So if you got 100 and some complaints, that's what you said in your opening statement, you may got some complaints that we done gave you that you ain't even delegated to somebody, so we waiting to figure out when you go move on it. I think you need to reconsider taking on the blight department, and I think y'all should look at taking the blight department and moving it to somebody else who can handle it, because it's not working for the 3rd Ward, and I'm telling you, it is horrific, and I'm going to try to do what I can and roll up my sleeves because I can't keep waiting on y'all, and I'm going to probably give y'all about another week or 2 to try to deal with this situation. If it don't work, I ain't coming to y'all no more. I'm going to just go on and get in my truck and pull my trailer up, and I just need to figure out where I need to dump it because it's not getting done. And that stuff is just still sitting out there. I'm done.
Thank you, Councilman Murphy. And real quick, because and I'm going to let you answer, Mayor Neely, but before you speak, I am going to allow you, sir, just a second. Paul, I'm getting YouTube stating that they could not hear Councilman Pfeiffer in the 8th Ward when he spoke. So I don't know if his mic is clear. Could you check it? But thank you, sir. Mayor Neely, you have the floor, sir.
He told me to put an email in. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, yes, to you, Councilman Murphy, and thank you for that, because, you know, the frustration that you experience is the same thing that we all experience, the ones who live here inside the city of Flint. And you have been doing your work for the past 20 years, as you said. You've been fighting this fight. You and Councilwoman Liddell Lewis have been out there working very hard over the past 20 years or so. This is nothing new to the city of Flint. This is something that's been a cancer in our community for a very, very long time. So blight is something that we have to structurally put in place and then develop, and I'm glad that you're here because we're talking about a budget hearing. We're talking about those things that are going to be coming before you on Thursday, after this particular Thursday coming up, May 5th Thursday. Adding additional resources to a department who needs additional support and help to be able to do things. When I arrived here in 2019, there was only one individual working in blight. We built that department, and also we know we're trying to build capacity. But when you have a vision to be able to correct something, it's nothing more than a hallucination if you don't have the resources. Personnel we had to hire through a very difficult time through COVID-19. We've done that. When you talk about having equipment, we decided to have a plan to be able to have DPW and their backhoes and their other bigger equipment to be able to use Fridays and additional personnel from that department. We've done that. We've hired what we call blight assistant teams through contracts. That means additional support teams in the 2nd Ward and other recommended contractors will come in with their equipment to be able to help us. Blight goes beyond just the dirt on the ground. But I have yet to see a bed with legs or a toilet with wheels. It gets to the curbside and it gets to those lightly inhabited neighborhoods by somebody dumping in our community. Treating our community as a garbage can. I'm tired of it. We enlisted the services of Crime Stoppers, blight fighters, putting out bounties up to $2,000 for the rewards of arrest and conviction of those that would treat our community as a garbage can. Springtime is up on us. You're right, Mr. Murphy. But when residents go to do their spring cleaning, you pay somebody to clean out your basement, your garage, or your attic, you might want to ask that individual who's doing it where they're going to take that debris. If they're doing contract work inside our city, where are they going to take that debris? We're going to take it to a lightly inhabited neighborhood in the 3rd Ward, 2nd Ward, 1st Ward, 8th Ward or 9th Ward, and dump it. Treat our community as a garbage can. We've been making arrests and convicting individuals, using technology to be able to help us. But there's nothing more than the ocular works. If you see it, report it. If you see it, report it. That's what we've done. And we're working and we're fighting back. We've cleaned up hundreds of metric tons of garbage and blight. And I want to thank, Councilwoman Priestley and other council people for their vision, because we have constructed the largest blight fighting plan in Flint's history and in the county's history with the opera dollars and the $16 million that we're putting in, and it's going to turn into $46 million of work. Cleaning up our structural blight. Mr. Murphy, and I appreciate it, because I know you've been on that fight. You and I grew up in the same ward, the ward where my mother lived until she passed. So I know about it. But we have to stop it, because when you talk about you going back into these areas that's lightly inhabited and you find debris or dirt, I've seen it where we clean up one area, organize a cleanup, as we've been doing every single year, pouring hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars into it, cleaning it up, and going back, and somebody has dumped there again.
Mayor Neely?
I want to finish
Hold on, Councilman Mays. Mayor Neely, I know the time is, you're here to 7:30. Are you leaving right at 7:30, sir? Because I think Councilwoman Worthing and Councilwoman Liddell Lewis and Councilwoman Herkenroder did send me some questions.
Okay, I will stay for the council person's question who has not had the opportunity to answer a question, but I do want to get back to the charter.
No, that's, I just wanted to.
Point of information, Madam Chair.
What's your point of information?
What about your questions?
Thank you, and my questions, thank you.
I think, for the council people who have not yet asked questions, we will stay over that allotted time until we
Point of information, Madam Chair.
questions along that line.
Thank you, Mayor Neely.
Point of information.
What's your point of information?
I expected him to say something like, for those who hadn't answered, that he would stay over. I don't expect him to circle back on let me do this as a point of order. I don't expect for him to sit here and answer the questions that he wouldn't answer for me as it relates to personnel and positions. But before he leave, I want to tighten that information down. I heard what Mr. Murphy said. I just was listening electronically. And when you got blight in his department, we got a right to fund that. I don't have to get out there, Mr. Murphy, if I may, and indulge me. I'm not going to get out there. I'm going to fund trucks, tractors, personnel. That's where we at now. We don't have to ask him. He did not fund the budget to take care of blight. This is our turn. We can now amend the budget to take care of all these problem areas, and we first got to know all the details of the personnel. So, Madam Chair, thanks for indulging me. As Mr. Davis Maurice used to say, he's not really indulging. And Mr. Murphy, I can't wait. He can leave at 7:30, and we need to talk about the amendments we need to make to this budget. And we need to demand that he give us the details of all that personnel.
Thank you, Councilman Mason. Mayor Neely did say he would stay. And then also...
He said he would stay for those who hadn't asked questions. He didn't say he would stay for the budget process.
And now let me, for clarity, please, on May the 12th, we can call back. We have a call back of various departments. So by then, any questions that are unanswered, once we went through the entire process, we can go back to that. And I believe I'm going to let you finish. I interrupted you, so you have the floor, Mayor Neely.
Yep, very succinctly, then I'm going to pass it over to Che to finish one of Councilman Pfeiffer's questions. But to your first part of your question, you talk about the charter mandated positions, and you talk about those pieces. As I talked about resources in doing so. But we have made our appointment over a year ago for that position, for the estimated review council portion of that. You say as a three-person board, we've made our selection. We have done that and forwarded it over. Now it has to come, you guys make a decision about who you...
I'm sorry, Mayor Neely, I apologize. What's your point of information?
Yeah, through you to the speaker, isn't it a fact, Mr. Neely, you did not budget this in your budget and we have the right now to fix it.
Thank you, Councilman Mays. Mayor Neely, you have the floor, sir.
As I
Please
was
continue.
saying, Councilman Murphy, we have made our appointment to that particular department as we have put other charter mandated positions into effect, but with resources we have been, we're trying to make the adjustments where we have to. Like we talk about the Human Relations Commission, we had to go out and seek out grants so we would not have to lay off individuals in other essential departments, police or fire, to be able to fund those charter mandated positions. Our revenues are down. The primary way that we additionally get revenues to support a municipality such as the city of Flint is through our property tax base. And when we look at our property tax base, when some people are leaving and vacating the city, we have less revenues, but we still have those same obligations as if we had a full, robust budget. No longer do we have General Motors, a billion-dollar corporation, in our midst. So we have to make those adjustments where we can and fill in those responsibilities. But as soon as we receive the appointment from council for the Revenue Estimating Commission, we will then go forth and allow them to make an adjustment to make that third appointment, and then we will go by way of finding the revenue to support that activity. That activity is not depicted up in this budget right now because we do not have that department. And the other, if you look at revenues for other charter mandated departments, much like the Human Relations Commission, we wrote grants to be able to secure the funding to support that activity. And we will do so as we continue to try to meet the obligation from the lawsuit and also the charter obligations that we currently have with the very limited resources. We have a lot of obligations. We have a lot of needs in our community, but we are addressing it head on here. And we are doing a fantastic job of working with the revenue streams that we have to support the needs of the community and not reducing staffing in any levels in any particular department. The Ombudsman's office, we added additional personnel to that particular department because it was an additional need for that. But we are looking at that and we're waiting up on that appointment. This administration has done their due diligence in making that appointment for that particular office. And Shay wants to respond to the blight question that Councilman Pfeiffer had.
Shay, hold on. Councilman Pfeiffer, make sure your mic is on, sir, because they could not hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You do sound...
Hi.
Go ahead.
Thanks for indulging me. This is my first council, so a little nervous, but I'll be all right. To your point about the increase from 134,616 to 228,200, that is not only for the mayors and the city administrators, that also includes blight, which will also help me answer some of your concerns. The blight other direct lines, the non-personnel lines, are actually increasing almost 100%. So that is 65% of that 93 difference.
Point of information, Madam Chair.
What's your point of information, Councilman
If
Mays?
this guy got these itemized details, I want to ask him, have you also got them for the personnel?
No, it's just some quick
Thank you,
math.
Councilman Mays. Shay, let's finish with this, then you can double back, but can you finish with Councilman Pfeiffer first, please?
Excuse me.
Yes.
I
Councilman
wasn't
Murphy.
done,
Oh, you weren't done?
so I don't know how you
Well,
gave
Shay
him-
went to, so I
Okay.
thought you were done. Yeah, I thought you were done, Councilman Murphy.
Oh, well, he was responding to my questions when I got done speaking,
Okay,
so
let me finish up with this, because
Okay.
I'll come right back to you. Shay, can you finish up with Councilman Pfeiffer's question?
My apologies, I didn't mean to
No,
confuse
no, no,
everything.
that's fine.
So, just to clarify, 65% of that increase is the blight division. So, not all of that money is mayor's office, city administrator. So, the increase is actually only 35% between the two departments. The 65%, as I said, that will be put into things like the blight teams, as the mayor has mentioned.
Point of information, Madam Chair.
What's your point of information, Councilman
Can we
Mays?
have the specifics of the 65% increase, not like what it'll be, but specifically the details of how much the 65% increase it is and what the specific activities are?
Thank you, I have noted that. Councilman Mays, Shay, can you please finish with your explanation?
That was pretty much it. That will be, like I said, it will be used for things such as, but not specifically, blight teams, paying for vehicles, supplies, things like that. But that is the increase. It was $61,300, which is, like I said, almost 100% over last year's for other direct lines.
Councilman Murphy, thank you, Shay, Mr. Linsman. Councilman Murphy, you have the floor, sir.
I just got a brief thing that I also want to bring to y'all radar. I want to make sure that the people that's working in the blight department is getting paid decent and adequate pay for their services. I'm hearing that they may be just making $11 and something an hour, and if that's what they making to clean up this neighborhood, that's concerning to me. So.
That's concerning to us all.
Mayor Neely, is your button up or down? Ed, I heard,
Can you hear me now? Okay, sorry about that. I've been away from council just a bit and it's pushing the mic button. That is a concern of all of ours, and that's why we just ratified the contract with Local 1600, which is the City of Flint's largest union. We gave them the first contract in 8 years, and in that contract, and those members in the Blight Division are members of the 1600 union, which is scheduled for an increase in a wage increase. And also, we've been able to compensate them with a level of essential workers' pay because they were out there during that period of time. We're now completing what we call a wage study, looking at the wages for all city employees, making sure that we can compensate them appropriately for their skill set and their expertise. We don't want to lose any workers that has a great skill set. We're in competition, for the lack of a better word, with our out-county counterparts for these individuals and these workers. And so we're completing the wage study, and the wage study will tell us what we need to be paying in police and fire, in our water service customer division, in those other areas in our enterprise funds and outside of our enterprise funds. And we are looking at, and we are increasing wages, and we're looking at making sure that we provide a living, workable wages for those individuals to provide those essential services. I understand you, Councilman Murphy, I don't do mice either. And that is another essential piece that we're going to be adding to the responsibilities in our blight department is extermination. Because once we start knocking these houses down, 2,200 houses will be coming down inside the city of Flint through the program that we developed and built, and I hope council supports the activity. And I want to once again say, Councilwoman Judy Priestley, she came to me going to the elevator and says, I love the idea, let's move forward. We did so, knocking those level houses down. Groundhogs, possums, rats, mice, they have to be abated before we start knocking those homes down. We know that we have challenges with animal control, moving dead animal carcasses out of the way, dogs, deer, and different things. And so that will be a part of the vision in which we will create moving forward. All of these operations and activities, remember this, does not have to go inside of this blessed and fragile budget. This is a balanced budget. We have the opportunity with some transformational dollars, our ARPA funds, to be able to subsidize these things that we're talking about. And that is fully our plan. But putting the structure.
Point of information, Madam Chair.
What's your point of information? Councilman Mays?
Wasn't them
Councilman Mays, what is your point of information,
Yeah, it's
sir?
a question, it's a quick inquiry, to clarification to the speaker. Wasn't them ARPA dollars in place when you put this budget together? They've been there for months. You didn't include any of them, did you?
Thank you, Councilman Mays, for your quick inquiry. You have the floor, Mayor Neely.
Yes, moving forward with those abated type of activities, we will start looking at trapping those possums and those groundhogs that's doing damage to our properties, making sure those rats are not inhabited where residents actually live. We have to put those plans together, and that will be coming before council. But first, we have to be able to figure out a better way to be able to communicate effectively with the plans and the visions that we all have. I do have conversations. Many of you all have been to my office. All of you have been to my office, and talking about ways that we can better understand and move beyond the divisive type of tactics of
Point of order, Madam
personal
Chair.
What's your
agendas.
point of order, Councilman Mays?
And I'm going to do it because we don't have to do budgets behind the scenes and closed doors. We do them in a budget hearing, a budget meeting, and I hope he don't come unprepared, detailed for the next one. In this council, my point of order is we don't have to be invited to do a budget behind the scenes, closed doors in his office. He filibustering, and we trying to get through the last 2-3 council people. So y'all call him Jermaine and Tito.
Thank you, Councilman Mays. Mayor Neely, you have the floor, sir.
As we approach all of these things with clear and sober minds, clear and sober minds. Thank you, Councilwoman Worthing. Feel free to give me a call for any particular questions or send them in writing. We'll be able to do that and handle that.
Point of information.
What's your point of information?
Through you to the mayor. So you excusing Ms. Worthing, our worst attendance, and telling her to give you a call in your office.
Thank you, Councilman Mays. Mayor Neely, you have the floor.
Right, and as we opened up, and we always said that we have a clear line of communications when we choose to do so in an effective way, because the residents of this community deserve just that. Working together, as Councilman Murphy put forth his level of concern, and he is not disingenuous when he puts a level of his concerns. He's been talking to me for years, 20 years of service, a good community patriot to the level of abating blight. This blight is our problem. And also we have others, but now we have the opportunity with resources to put them to task, to be able to serve the community well.
Thank you, Mayor Neely. Councilwoman Lewis, you have not spoken yet. Do you have questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My questions were answered when we discussed the Revenue Estimation Committee, and in addition to discussing how much we're going to pay the blight workers, and is their wage included in this? Because again, I'm with Councilman Murphy. Why pick up mice-infested trash when I can go take your order at White Castle for $15 an hour? So at this moment, those were my two questions that I had on the table. Thank you.
Thank you.
And to that, just so you know, that we're expecting grants. High-level grants, $1 million has been dedicated from the high-minded legislators, one in particular that represents the city of Flint. $1 million will be delivered for the operations of blight from the state of Michigan. That is coming. We're just waiting for the grant agreement, and then you guys will have the opportunity to approve that grant agreement, and then that sum of 8-figure grant from the state of Michigan will be dispensed directly into that category, addressing those concerns about how do we do this. And this is outside of the largest, best blight abatement program that this region has ever seen. And so we will have additional dollars, but we're putting the structure in place with the addition of Arnold Brown, a fine city worker that has the expertise moving in those areas to be able to do all those things. Let's abate the rodents in our community. Let's making sure that when we do the demolition, that these things won't cause collateral damage to our residents.
Point of information.
What's your point of information, Councilman Pfeiffer?
Did you say 8-figure or 7-figure?
I'm optimistic, Councilman Pfeiffer, and I'm glad that you caught that, but I'm speaking and I'm still going to leave it in the atmosphere that we want a lot of money, but I'm not an 8 or 7-figure maker in my life, and so I see the clothes that you wear and the cars that you drive, and I'm enjoying it. But I'm at 7-figure. I'm sorry, but definitely that.
Point of information.
What's your point of information?
Can we ask for 8 million? For 8-figure, I mean?
Let me tell you this, and this is on a serious note. In order for this community to make it, through our structural deficit, and this is the first time that you probably, or you have heard this number in dialogue with me, we need about $250 million, $250 million, that's with a B, to be able to get beyond our structural deficit with our pension system. That is something that's been projected, not just with me, but the projections have been on the wall since the RTAB, Emergency Management, and they did literally nothing but move it down the road. The $250 million that's necessary and needed is not just from the city.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
What's your point of order, Councilman Mays?
Even though this might be interesting to my colleagues, that'll be when we deal with finance when the finance department comes. This is specifically his budget. Yeah, I might need a lesson on what our structural deficit is, but when they talk about leaving, Ms. Worthing left, Ms. Lewis didn't really have no question. It should be on your questions, and we should be moving, because what he doing...
Point of information.
What's your point of information, Councilwoman Lewis?
Ms. Lewis had questions, but Ms. Lewis' questions were answered by other council people. Thank you.
Is that in the form of a question or an out-of-order statement? Thank you.
You know that.
Madam Chair, can you handle that?
Excuse me, Councilman Mays. Thank you, Councilwoman Lewis.
That wasn't no point of
Councilman
information.
Mays,
That was a statement. She
Councilman
called herself
Mays.
getting me told, but want to be called doctor.
Councilman Mays.
Let me say this.
Councilman Mays, hold up.
I had a point
Councilman
of order.
Mays, you had a point of order, and you had asked the question, correct?
And she interrupted me with a fake point of
she did a
information.
point of
and you
information.
can rule on it.
Well, these hearings aren't like this. The hearings.
It's a public meeting, and
It's
it
a
should have
public meeting, and the only thing
comment
that
at
gets
the
you,
end.
we don't rule on the public meeting in the hearing. What we do is have one rule.
So
Let me finish,
with
please.
my point of order.
I'm gonna let you finish, but let me finish because I am chairing, sir. What we do rule on is if there is disorderly conduct, then we have people removed. But you have the floor, Councilman Mays. Thank you.
And it's this, my point of order, I'll piggyback. It's when she's out of order with a bogus point of information to try to get me told. That's why I'm saying she ain't a doctor. Now, because that don't mean,
Councilman
Robert
Mays.
Drew. Let me finish with my
that's a
point of
personal
order.
attack.
This stuff is, no, it ain't a personal attack.
That
It's
is.
a professional misuse of a point of information. It's a professional use. Now,
Your
what's
question
happening here?
pertaining to the budget, sir.
Yeah, and it's a point of order. It's a budget hearing specifically for the mayor's office.
Can we?
Not the $225 million of the legacy costs. That's going to be financed. So that was my original point of order before I was rudely and unlawfully interrupted by the great doctor. He going off into great lengths of overall,
Okay, thank
but
you.
his budget is
Councilman
$1
Mays,
million.
you've answered that is a
so
quick
I
inquiry.
think I'm on
question.
track so we can get out of here.
Thank you, 'cause I still have questions. I have Councilwoman Herkenroder's questions. Mayor Neely, can you?
I will finish what I was saying, because it is serious to that magnitude that we have to take this we have to approach this with a very clear and sober-mindedness. We have to do this, because when we talk about where we are with this need that we have, and 19 other communities have the same type of need. Legislative works have been moving through Lansing to be able to try to perfect the law, to be able to get us the assistance that we need. But definitely they review and look at the way that we operate as a governmental branch, making sure if they provide the level of service or help and support that we need is being viewed on how we conduct ourselves. The dollars that we have before you in this blessed and fragile budget, I can guarantee you every single dollar goes to the benefit of the people, and it will not miss its mark. People will not have to wonder about where these dollars go. These dollars will be tracked from its inception and to its expiration, and totally to the benefit of the community. We are sober-minded, and we're looking for our partners. I appreciate your questions, Councilman Pfeiffer, right on point, and we'll get your answers. Councilwoman Priestley, very well. You have a great understanding of this, and thank you for coming. Councilman Murphy, your passion for blight has been educational for many folks, and inclusive of me. But we have a plan, and we have a structure. Chairperson Burns.
Thank you. I would like to finish. I've got Councilwoman Herkenroder's questions in front of me in her absence.
Well, I was getting ready to compliment you, but I'll forego the compliment for Herkenroder's question.
If we can do it in the wrap-up, that would be great. Thank you, sir. I do want to make sure that in the absence of our Vice President, our colleague, Ms. Allie Herkenroder, she's not here today. She's unable to make it. And she did email me and asked me to ask her questions. So in her absence, I want to make sure that I am asking her questions. One question is, what is happening with any changes to our water cost?
Point of information, Madam Chair, to our what?
What is happening with any changes to our water cost? That is from Councilwoman Allie Herkenroder.
You believe that's the mayor's budget?
I don't believe, that's not my question. That's not my question. That is Councilwoman Herkenroder's question. That I have my own list. So do you have an answer, or do you want to wait for that department?
Yes, that would probably be the appropriate thing, council person, that we wait for the DPW and direct that question at that time for clarification.
And so duly noted, but I want to make sure her questions are being acknowledged in her absence, that she did send them. Her second question, why is there such a decline in the charges for services, roughly $6 million in the general fund?
Point of information, Madam Chair.
What's your point of information?
That would be for the finance day.
Thank you, but
This is the mayor's budget.
Thank you, but I want to make sure in her absence, Councilman Mays, you've asked questions. This is Councilwoman
Point of
Herkenrode.
information, I just ain't hip to the proxy questions. Are you? This is new to me.
Okay, thank you.
Again, Councilperson Burns, that would be a matter to be addressed at the appropriate budget meeting, which would be in front of finance.
Okay, and then and I believe her other questions were answered. She too inquired about the justifying adding 7 new positions, and that has been answered already. I think we've covered that, so she has got that question. Now I'm going to get my questions, please. I want to piggyback off of a lot of things. I don't want to duplicate because I don't want to be redundant. I do want to say that when we started out, we talked about blight. Blight is an issue, and we know that that's something that we need to get a handle on, crime and blight. One of the questions, when we say we did not have people in blight, we did have Lindsay, who is now with United Way. We had Raul, who's with the Land Bank. And unfortunately, we had the death of Betty Weidman, because I used to call Betty Weidman. And she did everything, even including picking up stuff in that truck herself. So we did have people who did work in blight. And I'm going to finish, and I'll let you answer at the end, sir. And I'll make sure I'm polite to you. And definitely, I've always been respectful, Mayor Neely. So when we talk about, I want to get on the how many professional, I would like to know how many professional contracts are there? And it may be a question that I need to email to is it Lottie, or you, Mr. Edwards, and Mrs. Ferguson, correct? And Mayor Neal, I generally don't CC you in those, do I? Okay, I know that from experience. Okay, so I will send it. So how many professional contracts are there? And what are they for? And who are they for? That is something that coming out, that was my question before, and it's the consensus, listening to my colleagues who have looked. The other part, what I would like to know, how many grants do we have? Yeah, I think I had heard Lottie say before 80. I don't know if that number.
Point of information, Madam Chair.
What's your point of information, Councilman Mays?
You referring to personal service contracts and grants in the mayor's office? You ain't talking about citywide, are you?
I'm going to break it down as I finish my line of question, Councilman Mays. Thank you very much. Mrs. Ferguson, if I could get I would like, how many, as I finish my line of questioning, how many grants do we have? How many are for personal services? And then I do know that some of the grants are supplementing pay, such as Mr. Edwards' pay. I believe a portion of his pay comes from the Kellogg grant. I believe $10,000 comes from, am I correct? Does any portion of, Mr. Edwards, could you answer that for me, please?
Yeah, you're correct on a portion. The amount, that's not the correct amount. We can get you the amount, but that's not the correct amount.
Okay, and I just want to provide clarity, because as Councilwoman Priestley is stating, it makes it easier. She, of course, got her degree in accounting. The rest of us did accounting. It got a little boring for me, but
It was for me too.
It was
information.
Right. So if you could get that for, because that'll help to clear up some of the questions. So if you could get that, do you need me to email that to you, or are you taking notes?
If you would, please.
I will. I will do you that courtesy, sir. I will do that. Also, The professional service contract grants that are at a $75,000, which for me, I would like to see, and I'd like to have that drop, because we don't know who's working for the city. We don't know what amount they're coming in for. I do know that we're looking at 90 days per the charter for people to come before. People aren't coming before the council, and I don't like that. We're looking at Samantha Fountain came in at 84.9. She should have come before this council before her raise. She did not. We have a Tyler Bailey. No one seems to know where his contract is at. That should be before this council. We don't know who's working for the city. How do we contact them? What do they do? And that is, to me, inappropriate, because those two people work in economic development. That is a very important department in our city when we talk about the growth for our community and how to expand our services and how do we connect people, businesses, to those services when we simply do not know who's working in those departments. When we get back to, I want to go over to the, I want to be clear, so when we talk about the 70, we talk about the professional services. We like to know who are receiving them, what they are for, what are their titles, because we don't know what they're doing. And that to me is important, because we have someone, so say in, I'm going to say economic development. If we have someone here in economic development, I don't need to call Tracy Joseph over at the chamber. I want to make sure we're utilizing the services that we have with the people who are employed with the city of Flint. So Ms. Ferguson, I think a lot of this would come from Mrs. Ferguson, our Chief Resilient Officer. I like to make sure I get the title. Shay, I'm not going to get yours right. You had a lot of stuff on yours. But with all due respect, so the grants, who's working on the grants, whose salary is covered by grants, and what are the expiration dates, and what monies are left. For an example, how much do we have left on our Kellogg grant? That would greatly help us, to let us know, like what are grants, what are the expiration, and what's left on the grants. I'm sorry, Councilman Mays, did you have a question?
I guess it's some type of harassment or intimidation. She done went and got Western Michigan doctor of philosophy,
And
put it all
thank
on
you.
my side. Stupid.
I didn't see that, because I want to keep this meeting, I want to keep it professional, and I want to keep it moving. Thank you. Also, the 65% for the details, one of my colleagues, I'll email you, Mr. Edwards, a lot of this information as I took notes. Also to my colleague, Councilman Murphy, with the blight system. I do think that it's going through too many hands in regards to getting it taken care of. I think that the more hands handle it, then it gets dropped. And Mr. Edwards, I've seen how many things you do, and I know how late that you work. I think that is something that is probably on your plate that's probably too much. You work in the weekends generally, unless you stopped. But I know that's generally how you do. But when we're taking it from you to, he's taking it from you to Jennifer, from the council person to Jennifer to you, it's too many hands handling that. And I think more of a direct response to that so that we can be more efficient in taking care of the needs, so that residents aren't saying blight isn't being taken care of. Too many people are handling it, and we do need to streamline that. So I can see his frustration actually in that. What departments, this is my last question, what departments are general funded and employees, and then what departments are grant funded, Lottie? I think if we can have that separation so we know. I'm sorry. Am I kind of, and some of them may be redundant, but just to provide clarity so we know who's getting paid out of our general fund, who's getting paid out of grants, so we will know. The wage study, we can have, whenever that is available, could we have that, is it possibility to have that email? Because I believe The contract that is coming out with 84 workers is going to be, that was ratified, will come before us. So our $15.8 million deficit will be higher because that's not figured into our general fund. Is that correct? So then our $15.8 million project, it's going to be higher for our deficit. I'm finish my list, please, and then that way, and I know you want to respond because I'm trying to be, I know your time is important. I thank you for staying over. And we got, well, Councilman Murphy talked about the revenue estimate. That was on my list too. I want to go to dumpsters. We need dumpsters. We are pre-cleanup. My block club wants dumpsters, and dumpsters aren't available. So we need to know, how can we get dumpsters? I know that that's coming before us. It'd be nice for us to see a strategic plan to clear that up, because the community, we need dumpsters. I mean, I don't know why people think it's okay to throw trash out the windows or take their trash 2 houses down to an empty lot, but that is what happens. And I am going to, that's all of my question. I appreciate my colleagues. I know you're going to answer your question, but Council, I do want to go back to you, Mayor Neely, before you answer the questions. Councilman Pfeiffer, your questions, no one heard on YouTube.
Madam Chair?
Yeah, go ahead, Mayor Neely.
Because before we have a division between your questions and an answer.
Go ahead, Mayor Neely, you have the floor.
Now, to bring clarity to confusion, most of the stuff that you said was incorrect, and we'll get all those.
Can you please specify, sir, what's incorrect?
I can start off with, but the enumeration of it, we'll get it all to you to bring clarity to confusion. We'll respond to every one of the inquiries that you have, and I believe some.
Well, they were questions, sir. They weren't statements. I asked questions.
Okay, we'll make sure we bring clarity to confusion to make sure that you are clear on what it is and what it is not, right? Many of the statements, in just clarity to confusion, not as an insult to you, but when you talk about, when I say there was only one person in Blight, that is true. It was only Lindsay. Raul never worked a day under this administration, and Betty Wildman worked in transportation, where the building that she worked in now is named after her. So that's fact. Now,
so you're saying specifically that she did not work in that department, and
she was not a member of the Blight Division. She worked in transportation as the transportation director prior to us arriving, and then she became the deputy transportation director under John Daly. She's always worked on 12th Street.
Did she clean up Blight, Mayor Neely?
She didn't work in the Blight department.
But she did clean up Blight, sir.
We all cleaned up Blight. We all have cleaned up Blight.
And I don't want to do a back and forth with respect to you. And then, would you know that underneath your leadership, sir, Raul was employed until he was terminated. So
never reported for duty under this administration. Never reported for duty. That is clear, and that is the truth. But we'll go down the list. I'm
going to let you proceed, because I find, and we're going to agree to this, because I was there the day when he was dismissed, sir.
Whatever.
I was there the day he was dismissed, and he gave his cell phone and his badge. But I'm going to let you proceed. Go ahead, sir.
That's fine. Never reported for duty under this administration. But to answer the questions that you talked about, the grant pools that we operate, and we will definitely get that. That was inquired by Councilwoman Priestley. And then all of the other things that you asked, that's outside of this particular budget presentation for the mayor's office, we will definitely get all of that information to you as a byproduct of your request. But the vision and structure of Blight, we have added a level of structure, vision.
Point of information, Madam Chair.
I'm answering your question, so if you want some point of information on your
question. Point of information, Madam Chair.
Point of information on my answer, because I am not a member of the body. So if you want
point of information, Madam Chair.
What is your point of information?
The question is, when can we get that information? 3 days, a week? It shouldn't take to May the 12th. The question is when.
Thank you, Councilman Mays. Mayor Neely, you have the floor, sir.
As I was saying, we have a vision for Blight. We have a plan for Blight. We have brought stability to this community. We have stabilized many crises in this community, from water, civil unrest, a health crisis, and more. We are doing the work that is necessary to do so with the resources that we have available. We need a working partner. The community demands a working partner for this, not the showmanship of what has been, of some, not all. But definitely we have to roll our sleeves up. As I was telling you about the structural budget deficit that we currently, We are working our way through with our philanthropic partners. We have large grant pools on many different levels to operate different things, charter required departments. We're moving through those things, and definitely I'm extending the olive branch again to working with this council to make sure that we can sustain ourselves as a city. We are doing so, but we have a blessed and fragile budget. We have one-time transformational dollars to be able to engage this. And so this is the challenge that we have, and definitely we're up to the challenge. And to answer, I believe it was Councilman Pfeiffer's question, there's no one that works as the staffing in the council office that's making six figures. We have reduced the level of salaries, and Councilwoman Burns, when you worked in the office, you could probably testify to that being very accurate, as I stated. We don't have a lot of waste. We have a large skill set, and for those that are appointments throughout the city, in the areas that we have to attract a high-level skill set, we have subsidized those dollars from grants that we have went out to secure to be able to do so. Getting the best personnel in that we can actually provide for our residents to help us through this very turbulent time. And so you will have your answers. We'll get them to you, and then we'll look forward to the recall to come back before you to answer these questions. But I can guarantee you this: no one will have to wonder or guess where the dollars are, because they're fully in front, and they're going to be used for the empowerment of the people, and they will not miss their target.
And I appreciate that, and with fairness, I will send those questions to Mr. Edwards and to Ms. Ferguson, and I don't know, should I be sending items to Shay, Mr. Linsman? Okay, I'll send them to both of you, and in all fairness, I believe that our auditing firms have made sure all monies went to where they were supposed to, because we have not heard anything that it hasn't went otherwise. So in all fairness, and that includes with your administration, Mayor Neely, they have stated nothing outstanding besides some minor issues. So in that fairness, I know that you will make sure, just like the past administrations, monies go where they're supposed to go, and the council will do the same. As I hate to say, I have to quote, we have the purse strings. We hold the purse strings, or the purse. But I believe Councilman Pfeiffer, because his mic was not working, did you want to come back, sir? They got your question answered. Councilman Mays?
I'm not trying to go and ask Mr. Neely some questions. He's given me enough. I don't know. We got to get back with you. This is a budget hearing for his office. The police department, 29 to 30 million. His office is $1 million and some, and he try to play in front of this community like he don't know who worked there. I can name them. Phil Phelps, Clyde Edwards is one of them. A lady, she got kind of burgundy hair. You got somebody doing PR, they named here. You got, what's that lady, Vanessa Pringle, them. I mean, this is simple. And it should be embarrassing for this guy to try to sell to the community. You can't tell us who in your office and what they make, and you've been down there for 2.5 years. Now, this council don't have to ask Mr. Neely at this point to fund stuff. He already didn't fund it when he presented the budget. This is our turn to amend the budget, put the necessary equipment for blight, put the necessary personnel for management of blight. I'm trying to get this council to learn this ain't the time where you ask him. You're either going to approve his budget as it is or amend it up or down. Where I come from, if folk don't give you the answer and they know them, you amend it down. You flush them out. And you make them come tell you. Now, I really want to run the city where we amend it up and we service these residents. But I learned from Donald Trump, character matters. Lies and half-truths don't go good with me. And I experienced that from the PR department in his office when he lied about Murdoch.
Councilman Mays.
letterhead. So let me say this.
Yes, because
I'm
could
hoping
you
this
wrap it up, because
council-
they're going to leave.
They can leave
he had
unless
stated-
y'all want him. I don't want
No,
him.
let me finish, sir. He did state that once we finish the first round, that he would be leaving.
I ain't
And they've
tripping
packed
off
up
of
their
him leaving.
items to leave.
I'm talking to council.
Okay, then,
So
Mayor
if
Neely,
y'all
are you going
wanna
to
talk
stay,
to-
or are you leaving, sir?
Ms. Burns, I don't know
We're
why
scheduled to be
you,
here to 7, we're scheduled to be here to 7:30 or 7:45. Every council person has their questions
I ain't
asked,
trying to ask
and we're
them.
ready to definitely receive any inquiries, as you stated, that you will be sending additional inquiries down. Councilwoman Priestley, Murphy, and Lewis, as well as Pfeiffer. We're happy to entertain questions, and please, if you
Madam
need
Chair,
additional information
point
about
of information.
what it is.
What's your point of information?
do he realize that the same questions I ask him is the same ones he telling he'll answer for Pfeiffer, Murphy? Just discriminatory. But the point is, after he finished, I want to say a couple things to the council, then I'm going to leave. I've been sitting here to keep a quorum. You got people wanting to speak. It's a council meeting. It ain't been posted properly.
Councilman,
Go ahead.
yes. So if my colleagues have questions, please email the staff. They will respond. I will send my list of items, because it'll come back around. And probably, Lottie, I will, most of my questions actually need to come from you, which I know it's very easy working with you. So thank you. I appreciate it. And the colleagues, Councilman May still wants to discuss us amending the budget. If you would like to stay, I will stay, Councilman May.
This will take 2-3 minutes.
Yes,
I
will
don't care
stay,
if they
sir.
stay or not. I'm used to them leaving. Under the Open Meetings Act, when I talk to residents who want public comment, I think they should get it. So I want them to be able to have it. We gathered, we met. I know what the open meetings is. I know law. And if you would call on them, I think they would be respected.
Absolutely, and that is a fair statement, because it's not a regular hearing. If there's anyone, if there's anyone in the public who would like to speak, please step to, we don't have the podium, step to the chair and have a seat. If there's,
Point of information.
what's your point of information?
I'm just excusing myself.
Okay, that's fine. And I think it's only a few, Councilman Murphy, who do want to speak.
This is going to be real quick. When do y'all do the water budget? Is that tomorrow?
No, we have, that is Wednesday, Department of Public Works, Sanitation, Remain.
Okay, so.
No, we do that on Thursday.
So Thursday
April 28th.
Thursday morning, you all need to come on the communication call, because Eagle and EPA be on that call. I asked a question last Thursday, with Aaron Russell and EPA. Aaron Russell is Eagle. And I asked them, how is it that December the 4th, 2020, we had $10 million in the contingency fund for service lines, and we had $7.7 million in the state fund for service line replacement? That was December the 4th, 2020. November 26, 2021, $5.8 million was spent from the contingency fund, and $5 million was spent from the service line replacement. That's November the 26th, 2021. Only 654 lines were changed since.
How many lines?
654 lines have been changed.
I know it's on.
654 lines has been changed since 2019 till today. 654 lines. 26,232 December the 4th, 2020. 26,882, something to that number. But it's 654 lines. How could they have spent $11 million on 654 lines? So when I asked Ms. Russell, Aaron Russell with Eagle, where did $11 million go, she said that they don't know. The city won't tell them. So when they come up here, y'all need to ask them, where is the WIN money? Why is $11 million gone from the service line replacement, and only 654 lines were changed. There was no road restoration done since he's been in office. So where is $11 million? That's all I wanted to say, all right?
Thank you, Mr. Woodson, and that has been in my 17 questions. Mr. Del Maroney, I know you always come. Would you like to speak, sir? Or anyone else from the audience? Is it Miss Lori? I remember you. Would you like to speak? Hello.
I wasn't,
Councilman
Can you hear
Mays.
me?
Okay.
I really wasn't sure what the meeting was about. You know, it's just so many different ways and so many different things that go on, so I don't know when you could talk generally, when you have to talk about a particular issue. It's just so many questions I have just as a citizen that's getting involved in speaking in front of you all. So this is a finance meeting.
This is our budget meeting.
Budget.
And
for
this
the-
was,
for the
this
city.
was specifically the mayor's budget. This
The-
Thursday, we have another budget hearing.
Okay, so I can speak to that. Now, with it being a budget meeting, I'm going to break it all the way down. I know I'd be talking funny. My girl know, they know. But anyway, when I went to my parents, and not saying you all are parents or anything like that, when I went to my daddy and said I needed $50 to go to the Genesee Valley, I better tell him what I'm going to spend this money on. You know what I'm saying? How do you come to a place talking about a budget and don't talk about the budget for real? I'm sorry, what's her name?
Councilwoman Priestley.
I like you on them dollars. You know, everybody should have a specialty. Everybody's specialty seems to have been a distraction on how to settle down certain people. Him. I love her. I love her in real life. You know, and not being able to focus in on what you're here for has been his pattern. The administration is throwing distractions everywhere, throwing distractions, and everybody is looking at the distractions, but I'm glad to see you all focusing in on the real deal, the money. It's about dollars and cents. What the streets say, women lie, men lie, numbers don't lie. So if you all could just stay focused and make him stay focused and stop giving you distractions, I think that the city of Flint will be a much better place because the dollars will start being spent and start being seen. That's the big thing, being seen, you know, by everybody. And like Mr.
He's gone, Mr. Woodson.
Yeah, Woodson was talking about, where is this money? I mean, it's millions and millions and millions of dollars have come into this place.
Your microphone, Miss Lori.
Mine? Oh, anyway, that's all I want to say. And didn't want to say that, but you give me room to talk, I'm going to talk.
Well, I do it out of respect because you take the time to come down here.
I appreciate it, and I wish I could get down here more. You know, what you all starting at the time you start is just not conducive for people who leave at, you know, be around at 5 o'clock. But thank the Lord. Oh, can I say something else?
Yes, I'm getting ready to wrap up.
With these, I'm wrapping up. With these rules, I want to know, I think every citizen's issue should be seen about, addressed. But if I come up here and I have a real issue, something that's important to me, it might not be to you. I miss my RL because he come up with 1,000. But I think that every citizen's concern should be addressed, not your prerogative to address it or not. You know, you see what I'm saying? Everybody don't even know, most people that I talk to don't even know that you all are the people to come to from outside until they're actively involved in something within society. Okay, I'm gonna leave.
No, and
I talk all night, can't
no,
I?
I appreciate you coming, and I like to allow leniency because it is important. My constituents call me 24/7. So,
I appreciate that.
And I appreciate, I want to make sure, because even one of them is in the audience, Mr. Chris Del Maroney. But, and it's the first time he has not spoken.
I know, I watch every council meeting, every minute of it, because I do a lot of stuff, so I have you all on, and, well, I'll get to it one day.
Well, thank you, Ms. Lori, I appreciate it. And to my colleagues, it is approximately 7:56. The budget hearing for the mayoral budget has ended. Thank you.
I choose to do business in Flint because Flint is a part of my DNA. Aaron Christopher Events is a full-service event planning production company. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
Owner, Alpha Motorsports. Alpha Motorsports is a full-service on- and off-road speed shop. We specialize in EFI systems. We are located at the old National Guard Armory on Chavez. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
I'm the owner of Bella Concessions and Catering. We're located in Flint, Michigan. Flint is a good place to do business, and I decided I wanted to be a part of that. We do concessions and catering. We usually do birthday parties, special events, anything public or private. You can find me at Fly City Car Wash on Saginaw Street in Flint, Michigan, near downtown. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
Co-owner, Caught My Eye Barber and Beauty Supply. Being a single father and being from Flint, it was a lot easier to raise my kids inside of Flint with the help of my family. Caught My Eye is a beauty supply store with a barbershop and braider located inside of it. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, and support small businesses.
Deborah Johnson, I'm the president of Citizens Statewide Security. We choose to do business in Flint because of the overwhelming response from the community for the product that we offer. So we sell and install residential and commercial burglar alarm systems and surveillance camera systems. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
Curtis. I'm the owner and founder of Curtis Accounting Tax Services. I am a tax professional. I provide all aspects of accounting services and tax preparation services. I chose Flint because I was born and raised in Flint, Michigan, and it's always been my passion to give back to the community. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
My name is Molly Baskin, owner of Curvy Girl Fitness and For the Love of Dance Studio. I chose Flint because I was born and raised here, and I want to let everyone know that is not what they think. I aspire to support, encourage, and motivate young ladies and women through exercise, dance, and dieting. Enjoy, shop, love Flint. Support small businesses.
Hi, I'm James Thigpen Jr., owner of 810. I chose to do business in Flint because at the time I felt there was a cultural void. We created this symbol in order to bring pride to the city. 810 is an apparel company primarily. We've created clothing that really relates to the culture here. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.
Co-founder and CEO here at Commute. So the reason we stayed in Flint is we wanted to be an economic driving force in Flint, providing both technology and manufacturing jobs. Commute, we are the universal charging network for anything smaller than a car. You can think of us as the Tesla supercharging network for what's called micro-mobility. Enjoy, shop, love Flint, support small businesses.